Hey guys, Brian Nelson here from the Tactical Performance Center. I'm down at Adam's basement and we are going to modify a retention holster for him to fit his new STI DVC 3 gun. Now the holster we're using is actually for a single stack Springfield operator. It's a Safariland ALS holster. It's the closest thing to fitting a 2011, but it's not quite right. There are a couple little things we have to do. The gun that this holster is designed for is a single stack with a rounded trigger guard. So we are going to have to do a couple things to make up for the width of the grip, the trigger guard shape, the magazine release, and additionally, because this is the DVC 3 gun, it's a 5.5 inch 2011, 5.5 inch barreled, which means it's slightly longer than the gun was designed for. So we're going to have to blow out the end of the holster just a little bit to make up for that extra length. This is my holster that we're going to be using as a guide, because I've already done this for my personal gun. And that's our goal, a nice active retention holster I can draw from pretty quick. What we're going to have to do to make this holster fit this gun, because right now it ain't gonna, we're going to have to make a little bit extra room for that square trigger guard as opposed to the round trigger guard that this was designed for. We're going to have to blow the ends out a little bit on this holster so that we can fit that extra little 1/2 inch of barrel into the holster. And we're going to have to relieve or cut out for the magazine release because it is longer than on the single stack gun. Here, you see the difference between my holster and Adam's holster. And then we're going to have to slightly flare the entrance or the top of the holster to make up for the width of the grip. And that's also going to have the added benefit of making it a little bit easier and act like a funnel if we have to reholster the gun on the clock during a stage. Tools you're going to need, obviously you're going to need the holster, you're going to need the gun that's been cleared out and no ammunition in it. You're going to need a Dremel with a sanding drum, and that's to relieve and cut on that holster. You're going to need a heat gun to get the kydex hot so that we can work with it. You're going to need some safety glasses because if you're working with something like that, with a rotary tool, you really should be protecting your eyes. Okay, so to start off, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the heat gun and I'm going to take this surface right here and I'm going to slightly roll it out. Because as you can see, the square trigger guard on this gun hits right there. So we're just going to roll and slightly move that surface out so that we can fit the trigger guard into the holster. We're going to use the heat gun for this. And you want to get this right up on it. You want to keep it slightly back. We don't want to really melt the kydex. We just want to heat it up enough so that it's malleable and we can kind of jam the gun in and make that clearance. Check it. It's on the way. So now the part that's hitting is the magazine release. So now we're going to make the clearance for that, and we may have to go back and put a little bit more heat on that. Check it. Make sure I'm hitting the right spot. Just about there. So now I think the only thing we need to do is widen here for the grip. And I think we need to do a little bit more work on the trigger guard. And we actually may not even have to touch the bottom of the holster. There. Okay, so I think now we're at the point where the slide's hitting on the bottom, so we are going to have to roll the bottom of it out a little bit. You can see it doesn't take a whole lot with the heat gun to get this kydex malleable enough to work with it. Close. I think we just need to do a little bit more work on the back there. this side out a little bit too. Okay, so now we're at the point where the gun fits in the holster pretty well, but the latch doesn't quite engage. So what's happening here is, because this is designed for a 1911 with a round top slide, there's more material in front of the ejection port here for the ALS latch to grab onto. So there's not, right now the latch doesn't have enough material here to grab onto. So this is what's inside the ALS holster, like that. Pull it out like that. The way this works is it's flexible. This joint right here, this surface here is screwed in to the front of the holster, and this grabs to keep this guy from coming out like so. There's a little shelf on there. However, what's happening now is there's not enough bend here for this surface here to grab the ejection port. So what we're going to do is put a little bit of more tension on this latch by just bending it back like this. You want to be careful here though, because if you bend it too far, you can and will snap it off right at that joint there, and then you're left with kind of a useless holster. So we'll put just a little more tension on there. And we'll see if that does it for us. And now we have our end goal, which was a retention holster for a 2011 that's active but still very quick to draw from. I'm Brian Nelson from the Tactical Performance Center. Thanks for watching.